much. We appreciate that. Now, the other thing I want to mention to you is that when you write on this with a pencil, that if you'll take the stone home and put it in, not put it in water, but just put some water on it, it will dry. And let it dry, and then what you've written down will be there for as long as you want it. So those who've been coming for 30 years, and somebody mentioned that, and use it as backdrops on their kitchen, okay, it'll always be there for you. You know, it's kind of interesting. One of the stories I heard about New Year's Eve in Times Square was that a woman and her husband, they were in their 40s, went to New York and spent a couple of days there to be in Times Square. So on New Year's Eve, kind of in the middle of the day, the wife decided to take a really nice nap. And so she took her nice nap, and she woke up. And, how you feeling, honey? I'm feeling great. And, honey, I had a great dream. You did? Yeah, I dreamed that you gave me a diamond ring to start the new year off. He says, okay. And so while she's getting dressed, he says, I got to go down to the store, honey. And he goes out, and he comes back. And he's got a little box that's gift wrapped. And it was a little larger than a ring box, a lot larger than a ring box. But he had always kind of done that. You know, you put a box in a box, and you hide things. You have a big, big box with a little thing in it. So he did that, and so that's what she suspected. But when she opened it, what she found was a book. And the book said, How to Interpret Your Dreams Correctly. Wow. So, today, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to use a slide to speak of, okay? That's it, right there. So listen carefully, because I don't know what I'm going to say. Living life with intentions. How many people here have set New Year resolutions for this year? Oh. See, when you used to ask that 30 years ago, everybody, yeah. And then what's happened over time as we get older is we find out that those resolutions most of the time don't work. And I think it's because they are a wish list. They are not really an intention. When we make a wish list, it's kind of like, if I get around to it, I'm going to do it. Or I make the list, and then, I put it in my computer, and maybe I'll look at it every day. And after 3 days, I stop looking at it. And then I forget it. And so I made my wish list, which did not come true. And that's okay. But when we set an intention, it changes everything. Because an intention is set on your belief system, what you believe about yourself, how you see yourself, and how you want to change how you live your life, how you want to change that screen of life that you have and see yourself in a different way. And intention, really, when you think about it, and living with intention is totally different. For example, let's say that I'm a business owner. I used to be one of those. And, but I'm so busy. I mean, the whole world has consumed me, or the business has. And I can't get away from it. I don't know what to do with it. And so I set an intention. And my intention is to have white space in my life. Instead of putting the vacation off this year, I will take the vacation. Instead of skipping my child's birthday party, and some have done that when business calls, I'm going to be there no matter what. I'll cancel my plans. Instead of not spending time with my partner, I'm going to spend time with my partner, and I'm going to set up a date night on a regular basis. You see, when we get into intentions, we talk about how we're going to change ourselves. We're going to talk about how we're going to change our life. Maybe as a person who is a supervisor or in a higher position in a company, you recognize that you really aren't connected to the people who work with you and for you. And so the intention would be, I want to have better connectivity. I want to get to know them. I want to have a relationship. And so you decide, there are things I'm going to do to make that change so that I feel connected and they feel connected to me. And all of a sudden I find there's joy in the workplace. I find that people really want to get together and please one another. I find that people are motivated to do their work because somebody cares. And maybe again, we just don't feel connected the way people talk about, even at Unity Renaissance. I come, I listen, I have a nice time, but I don't feel really, really connected. Well, look at yourself, and I'm suggesting this as an intention, and that if you feel that way, and a few people probably do, this is something you can do about it. That you can take on this opportunity to be connected by staying after church for a little while and talking to people. By saying, you know, I'm going to really get engaged in some classes. And there are plenty of classes here. I mean, if you want to really stay busy, attend all the classes. You know, you won't have time to work or do anything else. But you'll learn a lot. So because it's in the classes that the connection takes place most times, to be honest. Not only with one another, but with the Christ within. And so we have these opportunities to set these intentions. And today I just want to recommend that maybe you might look at our principles and say, my intention is to become the principles that we are. That I do believe there's one source. And I believe that source is always present. I believe that source is powerful. I believe that source gives me an understanding of who I am, and an understanding of nature, and an understanding of life. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest my time, and I set the intention to do that, to feel closer to myself, to understand the higher self within me, to embrace that higher self. And then we know that second principle, and this might be one you focus on. Source and I are one. God and I are one. The Christ and I are one. What does that feel like? How do you experience that? Maybe I'll talk to a few people about it. Maybe I'll seek it out. Maybe I'll focus on it so I understand that I truly am not only a child of God, but a creator of God. That I can feel myself changing when I make that kind of discovery and I apply it and set an intention to live it. And then, of course, there's the idea of the third principle. And the third principle is, and I'll get there, okay? It's catching up with me. The third principle is the law of mind over matter, the law of mind action. And in that one, what we start to do is understand as divine beings that we can set divine intentions, which are divine ideas, and then we can manifest those divine ideas. That means we bring it into our lives, and we bring it into the lives of all around us, our families, our co-workers, our friends, and people here at Unity. And so we make that commitment, and we say, what's really important to me? And what am I going to focus on? And what do I want to change my life? And I use that law of mind action to do it. And then if I want to reinforce that, I use affirmative prayer. And so my intention is to be an affirmative prayer. You know, when I learned to pray, it was like, God, get rid of that person. No, I never said that. Well, maybe a couple times. But anyway, but it really was all about asking for God to take over and do something for me that I just didn't want to do. Instead of me being in charge, I said, God out there, you be in charge. And I pray that you will heal me. Today I don't pray that way. I use affirmative prayer. I see myself whole. I see myself healed. I see myself present in this moment. I see myself living life so fully that others feel it and experience it and know who and what I am. That's my intention. That's how I want to show up. And so I use these prayers and I use denials to allow myself to get rid of, and I don't mean to chase away, I mean to embrace those things that are the shadow side. Those things I don't really want to tell people about. Those things maybe I want to hide. But what I learned to do is embrace it. And I learned the more I embrace it, the more I am able to share the things that didn't go quite well in my life. And then I find out other people have the same experiences, and then I find out, oh my gosh, we're growing together, we're learning together, and this is really healthy. So my shadow side becomes my light side. And then it's automatic. I intend to take action. I intend to pay attention to my intentions. I intend to show up and create a new me. And so as we step into that and understand that, we now can see that we have an opportunity, not just on New Year's Day or not just on January the 7th, but every day to set a new intention. If I make a mistake, I can say, oops, that's not who I want to be. And by grace, I can step into what I am and who I am. And so we do that. And then another thing we have today is this opportunity to have a white stone ceremony. How many people are not familiar with that? White stone ceremony. Is this your first one? Oh, great. All right. That's wonderful. I have not missed one for 25 years. I have missed a burning bowl service just this past week, I'm so sorry to say. But anyway, and I appreciate all the prayers, by the way, people supporting me as I moved through the COVID, and I did move through it. And so anyway, what I want to do is ask you to hold your white stone in your hand. And as I do, just remember that this is a ceremony, it's an ancient ceremony. And it's a ceremony during Jesus' time when somebody was imprisoned and that was let out of prison. If somebody was a leper and was healed from it, they were offered a white stone, a Jerusalem stone. And that's what you're holding in your hand. It comes from Jerusalem, a Jerusalem stone. And that person could write a new name for themselves. I mean, you know about new names. You know, Sarai became Sarah. Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. We can adapt those new names. And we can find a new name for ourselves, and we can set the intention. Not just a resolution. We set the intention that I'm going to be that name. So instead of taking your white stone home, putting a little water on it, and then setting it aside, or putting it in a drawer, keep it up in front of you, maybe at your computer, somewhere where you are every day and you'll see it. And say, that's my intention. That's me. That's who I am. And slowly but surely, if you're not already, you will become that. You will become that. And so that's the basis behind this white stone ceremony. And so what I'd like to do is offer you this opportunity to go into a time of silence. And as you do, hold this white stone in your hand and see it as a symbol of new life. Say with me, I make all things new. Together, I make all things new. And this white stone that you're holding in your hand is a promise of new life. It's a symbol of a clean slate. And it is living life with intention. And so know that your slate is clean today. No matter what's going on in the past, no matter what life has been like for you, no matter how you felt, no matter whatever, today You have a new slate before you. And anytime you look at this white stone, realize that you have the gift of choice, the gift to live differently, to begin again, to connect with the God of your understanding. This is a moment that is a whisper from your soul that you are so much more than you've ever let come into expression. And as you are guided by Spirit, know that you can go deep within. So take this moment. Take this moment to go deep within. Breathe in. Hold it for a second. And breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. And feel yourself moving into your heart space. Feel yourself stepping to that place on high, where you, the I am within you, and Spirit are all one. And begin to take a moment and see yourself walking along a path. It's a wooded path. And as you do, you feel nature. You feel the beauty. And then this path opens up into a beautiful meadow. See the meadow. And what you notice in the meadow is there's a bench, just a little way up the hill. And so you gently walk to that bench. And you sit down. And you say to yourself, who am I? Who am I? In this very moment, as you're sitting on the bench, you allow yourself to think of a name that you might apply to that question, who am I? It might be a word from one of our 12 powers: faith, or zeal, forgiveness, strength, power itself. Or it may be a name that you remember from childhood that had an impact, that impacted your life. But allow your mind to be open and let your divine mind take over your brain, take over your body. And as you feel and experience that, you come to the conclusion, you know you're ready to declare your name. And as that name comes to you, still in the silence, write that name down on the Jerusalem stone, the white stone that you have. And now hold your stone in your hand if you've completed writing. And as you hold it in your hand, allow yourself to ask for deeper understanding. To ask, are there any steps I need to take so that I honor this name? Allow yourself to open the Spirit, to say to yourself, God in me reveals my true essence. God in me reveals my next step. God in me lives a joyous, peaceful, and fulfilling life. Think to yourself, behold, I make all things new. For you are my beloved in whom I am well pleased. And always remember, it is your Father's good pleasure to give you this kingdom. Accept this consciousness of ever-increasing good in your life. I invite you to carry this white stone as a reminder of that promise. Amen and amen.
Expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding